Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins walked into East Rutherford on this crisp Sunday afternoon carrying the weight of a season that had been slowly, quietly turning in their favor. And they walked out with a commanding victory that felt like a statement to the rest of the league. With a final score of 34-10. Miami not only extended its winning streak to 4 straight games, but also delivered the decisive blow that officially eliminated the New York Jets from postseason contention for the 15th consecutive year. A staggering drought that continues to define the franchise's modern era. And if you watched the game, you know it was not just a win for Miami. It was a showcase of resilience, depth, and a commitment to the ground game that kept the Jets' defense on its heels from the opening possession until the final whistle. Jalen Wright became the unexpected star of this matchup, stepping into a larger-than-expected role after Devon Achane left the field midway through the second quarter with a rib injury. Wright, who has been quietly waiting for his moment, ran for 107 yards and a touchdown on 24 carries. Those numbers were not just personal bests. They were the kind of workhorse statistics that define a running back who understands the moment and refuses to let it slip away. Wright ran with balance, vision, and a sort of quiet explosiveness that kept Miami's offense moving even when the Jets committed more bodies to the box. Every carry felt like it mattered, and you could almost sense his confidence growing as the game went on. The hard truth for New York is that this loss was shaped by injuries almost immediately. Quarterback Tyrod Taylor, making his 3rd consecutive start in place of Justin Fields, went down in the first quarter with a groin injury before exiting. Taylor completed 1 pass on 4 attempts for a total of 6 yards, and the Jets' offense never truly recovered from that point forward. Undrafted rookie Brady Cook was thrust into the fire, and you could see both his competitive spirit and his inexperience collide on nearly every snap. Cook completed 14 of 30 passes for 163 yards, but he had no touchdowns and threw to interceptions, including one that swung the momentum heavily in Miami's favor. The Dolphins' defense smothered him relentlessly, holding the Jets to 47 total yards in the first half and recording 6 sacks, with Zach Sealer contributing 2.5 of them before Achane exited the game. He was putting on a clinic of his own, as he so often does, even in limited time. He managed 90 rushing yards and a touchdown on only 7 carries, averaging well over a first down. Every time the ball touched his hands, Miami finished the afternoon with 239 total rushing yards. A mark that speaks not only to the explosiveness of Achane and Wright, but to the dominance of the Dolphins' offensive line, which controlled the trenches from start to finish and set the tone for a physical, grind-heavy game plan that New York simply could not slow down. Miami wasted absolutely no time building its lead. By the time there were 3 minutes and 39 seconds remaining in the first quarter, the Dolphins had already gone ahead 21-0 thanks to Wright's 2-yard touchdown run. New York, as only early moment of celebration came on special teams, where Isaiah Williams delivered a spectacular 78-yard punt return touchdown with just 20 seconds remaining in the opening period. That play electrified the home crowd briefly, but it ultimately did little to change the trajectory of the game. Tua Tagovailoa managed the offense with calm efficiency, completing 13 of 21 passes for 127 yards and connecting with Jalen Waddle on a 3-yard touchdown early in the game. Waddle led all receivers with 5 catches for 50 yards, repeatedly finding soft spots in the Jets' coverage and giving Tua exactly the kind of reliable target he needed on a day dominated by the ground attack. Even with the passing numbers dialed back, Miami's offense never looked out of sync, never looked rattled, and never seemed to lose control. New York's final flicker of hope came early in the fourth quarter when veteran kicker Nick Folk knocked through a 31-yard field goal to cut the Dolphins' lead to 24-10. But on the very next Miami possession, Ollie Gordon powered into the end zone on a 7-yard touchdown run with 6 minutes and 18 seconds left in regulation, slamming the door shut and effectively sealing the Jets' fate for the afternoon and for the season. And when the dust settled, the narrative of the game extended beyond the scoreboard. Dolphins analysts quickly pointed out who earned a stock up designation after such a complete victory. Achane was praised once again for his explosiveness and efficiency. Despite leaving early with an injury, Jalen Waddle earned recognition for being active, reliable, and productive in the passing game. Especially in the first half when Miami was building its early cushion, Greg Dulcich also turned heads, while not yet a long-term solution at tight end. He continues to show he can be a dependable number 2 option who finds space and makes plays after the catch. And Russell Douglas added yet another interception to what has become a quietly impressive stretch of performances, cementing himself as the Dolphins' most consistent member of the secondary this season. But the stock report was not all positive. Head coach Mike McDaniel's decision-making once again came under scrutiny, with critics pointing to moments where he appeared to overthink situations or stray too far from the run game that was working so well. The narrative around McDaniel increasingly frames Miami as a team that wins in spite of his antics, not because of his strategy. Special teams also face criticism, allowing a punt return touchdown only 1 week after failing to recover an onside kick, and recalling the kickoff return surrendered earlier in the season against New England that ultimately cost the Dolphins a win. Even with improvement under coordinator Danny Crossman, the unit remains inconsistent, and that inconsistency continues to show up in moments that matter. Still, the overarching story is clear. Miami is surging at the right time, discovering depth pieces they can trust, and winning games through toughness and execution. The Jets, meanwhile, find themselves staring at yet another lost season, another chapter in a long-running narrative of frustration and unmet expectations. For Dolphins fans, though, this was a performance to celebrate: physical, opportunistic, disciplined, and powered by a pair of running backs who refused to let the moment slip away. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments what's your take on the Fins this week. Hold on to your seats, folks, because the sports world is buzzing with what can only be described as one of the most jaw-dropping maneuvers in recent memory. Rumors have been swirling for weeks, whispers circulating through the league corridors and social media timelines, but now, it seems, the unthinkable has happened. The Miami Dolphins, a team always eager to make headlines, have reportedly secured a deal with none other than MYLES GARRETT, one of the most formidable defensive ends in the NFL today. Can you imagine the chaos this is going to unleash on opposing offenses? Garrett, with his combination of speed, power, and sheer football intelligence, is exactly the kind of player who can change the trajectory of a franchise overnight. And the Dolphins apparently just pulled off the ultimate power move, sending shockwaves through the league. Fans and analysts alike are struggling to process what this could mean for the Dolphins' defensive strategy next season. As Garrett's presence alone demands respect from every quarterback he faces, the chatter is intense, with insiders hinting at the meticulous planning behind this acquisition, suggesting that this was not a spur-of-the-moment decision, but a calculated step to elevate the Dolphins into serious contention. Imagine the locker room dynamics now. The buzz among teammates who have watched Garrett dominate on the field for years and now find themselves lining up alongside him. There's a palpable sense of excitement, and maybe even a little anxiety, as the Dolphins roster just became an entirely different beast. Sports pundits are already dissecting the potential shifts in the Dolphins' defensive schemes. Will they now focus on a more aggressive pass rush, capitalizing on Garrett's ability to wreak havoc in the backfield? Or will the coaching staff find innovative ways to leverage his versatility in hybrid defensive roles? The speculation is rampant, and the tension is delicious. Social media has exploded, with fans theorizing everything from fantasy football implications to the sheer intimidation factor this brings to every stadium the Dolphins visit. If there was ever a single player whose mere presence could alter the conversation around a team, MYLES GARRETT is undoubtedly that player. And the Dolphins just became the talk of every sports bar, every online forum, and every highlight reel. Whispers from the locker room suggest that Garrett's move to Miami was about more than just football. There are murmurs of lifestyle considerations, of the allure of the sun-soaked coast, and the chance to become the face of a franchise hungry for attention and success. Analysts are pointing out that the Dolphins' front office has been strategic, lining up not just talent, but charisma, marketability, and leadership. And Garrett checks all the boxes. The rumor mill is working overtime, trying to piece together what this signing means for the salary cap, for the team's draft strategy, and for future acquisitions. Everyone is asking, what was the magic formula that made Garrett say yes? Some suggest it was the promise of being a centerpiece in Miami's defensive rebuild. Others whisper about relationships with coaching staff, or the prospect of playing in a city that offers both football glory and off-field perks. Whatever the combination, One thing is certain, the Dolphins have just ignited one of the hottest stories of the season, and the buzz is unlikely to die down anytime soon. Sports commentators are painting vivid pictures of game day scenarios with Garrett now anchoring the defensive line. Picture this: offensive coordinators drafting plays in secret, trying to anticipate Garrett's next move. Quarterbacks hesitating just a fraction of a second too long, and the crowd erupting as the Dolphins' defensive end reshapes the momentum of a game with a single play. The strategic implications are immense, and every angle is being dissected. There's talk of how Garrett's addition could inspire younger players, creating a culture of relentless pursuit and elite competition within the Dolphins' ranks. Veteran players are reportedly buzzing with excitement, seeing the opportunity to mentor and learn from one of the best at his position. And the locker room atmosphere is said to be electric, buzzing with optimism and renewed energy. Analysts are comparing the Dolphins' move to other blockbuster trades and signings in NFL history, and the consensus seems to be that this one could rank among the most audacious and potentially transformative in recent years. The combination of Garrett's raw talent, leadership potential, and marketability makes this acquisition a multifaceted coup that resonates far beyond the field. Meanwhile, fan reactions have been nothing short of sensational, from local supporters donning jerseys emblazoned with Garrett's name within hours of the announcement, to national audiences sharing memes, mock-ups, and speculative scenarios. The internet is alive with fervor. Sports forums are ablaze with heated debates about how Garrett fits into Miami's current roster, who will benefit the most from his presence, and which rival teams are now scrambling to reassess their offensive line strategies. The buzz isn't confined to just hardcore fans either. Casual observers are tuning in, caught up in the spectacle of a league-shaking move that seems almost cinematic in scope. Rumors are already flying about potential synergies with other star players, the creation of new defensive formations, and even the psychological impact on opponents who will now have to prepare for a player whose reputation alone precedes him. The anticipation is building, as everyone wonders how soon we will witness the first live demonstration of Garrett's impact in the Dolphins uniform. Industry insiders hint at behind-the-scenes negotiations that were nothing short of intense. Sources claim that multiple teams were vying for Garrett's talents, making the Dolphins' victory even more impressive. It's said that the organization navigated a maze of strategic proposals, long conversations, and subtle assurances to convince him that Miami was the place to be. The narrative that emerges is one of precision, ambition, and a clear understanding of the value Garrett brings both on and off the field. Financial analysts are already speculating on the ripple effects this deal may have on future contracts and team compositions league-wide. Some suggest that other franchises may now feel compelled to make bold moves of their own to keep pace with the Dolphins' audacious strategy. In the world of professional football, momentum is everything, and by securing Garrett, Miami appears to have gained a surge that could influence league dynamics for years to come. Meanwhile, the media frenzy shows no signs of slowing. Sports networks are devoting segments to analyzing every potential outcome, breaking down Garrett's past performances with meticulous attention to detail, and theorizing how the Dolphins can maximize their investment. Analysts are projecting scenarios where Garrett's presence alone transforms games, leading to critical stops, turnovers, and game-changing plays. The excitement is infectious, with every broadcast and social media post amplifying the sense that something historic is unfolding. Even rival fans are paying attention, some with grudging respect, others with concern, all acknowledging the magnitude of the Dolphins' move. The energy surrounding this story is electric, as if the league has collectively paused to watch the ripple effects unfold. Every pundit, every fan, and every casual observer seems to sense that Garrett in Miami is not just a signing, but a statement. The Dolphins are serious, bold, and ready to shake up the status quo as the dust settles on this blockbuster rumor. One thing is clear: the narrative of the Dolphins has shifted dramatically. No longer a team simply participating in the league, they are now central to a conversation about dominance, strategy, and audacious ambition. Garrett's reported arrival promises more than just defensive prowess. It symbolizes a calculated gamble with the potential to redefine the Dolphins' identity, energize their fan base, and unsettle their competition. Rumors will continue to swirl, predictions will be made, and debates will rage. But the consensus is undeniable. The Dolphins have pulled off something extraordinary. The sports world is watching, holding its collective breath as the drama unfolds. knowing that the implications of this signing could resonate far beyond a single season. And as we continue to speculate, analyze, and dream about what's next, one thing is certain: the Dolphins have just made a move that will be remembered, dissected, and talked about for years. A move that has everyone asking the same question: what comes next for a team now armed with one of the most feared defensive forces in the game today? That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up!